Okay, hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Malka Stromer from Sound Sports Imaging, and I am here at the headquarters of VisualSonics in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I'm joined by Meredith Chrisman, who is the high-frequency clinical application specialist at FUJIFILM VisualSonics. And I'd like to thank them for allowing us to host this webinar here. Obviously, it looks a lot fancier than our previous webinars, but this is very exciting for us, and I hope that you'll gain a lot from today's webinar. So first off, we just want to have some housekeeping ideas here. We are recording this webinar, so it'll be made available later. All of your lines are muted for the duration of the webinar, so if you have any questions, you can use the typing chat format. And I would really appreciate too if you keep your questions to the end so that we can focus on the presentation as well as our live scanning. And we will try to get to and answer all your questions. Now I'm going to turn it over to Meredith.
Hi, thank you, Malka, for having me as well. It's been a wonderful and long journey with this high frequency. So I'm going to go through our introduction to Vevo MD and how we became. We started preclinical and we have been doing mouse scanning for decades, started at Sunnybrook Hospital, and now we're moving into the clinical field with the high frequency. So there's some of the high frequency transducer elements here with showing you how we actually created them. The three transducers that we have are the UHF 70 megahertz, which is our highest frequency transducer, the UHF 48 megahertz, which is our sweetheart of a transducer, or the middle frequency, and the 22 megahertz ultra high frequency transducer that we have. And it's the lowest frequency that this machine can actually go to, and that's about 3.5 centimeters deep. So here's a picture showing you the crystals and showing you the crystals relative to a strand of hair. So the black line there is actually a strand of hair there, so you can get an idea of how small these crystals are. And they're laser cut, it's proprietary. And you won't find anything like this out on the market. So a few pictures that will show you some of the conventional ultrasound that you see today. It's what's out there, it's what's everyone used to looking at compared to some of the high frequency images that we've gotten with the Vevo MD. So I'll just slowly go through those images and you can take a look at them. So here's pictures of layers of the skin. The median nerve, so this is an anatomical view of the median nerve. Conventional ultrasound.
We're going to highlight the median nerve for us.
Sure.
On conventional ultrasound. Now this is even, in my opinion, a really good picture on conventional ultrasound of visualization of the median nerve.
Absolutely.
However,
this one's better.
So
this is with the ultra high frequency 70 megahertz transducer from the Vevo MD.
And you can see, what are we visualizing here? We're visualizing all of the nerve fibers.
Fascicles. So each individual circle here is one nerve fascicle. So this is the whole bundle right here of the median nerve. And then each of these little circles is one of the fascicles. Pulling, again, still good by conventional ultrasound, and with the Vevo MD, 70 megahertz. Radial artery, 70 megahertz.
And we can visualize the wall of that artery incredibly well.
So what you're looking at here is the intima, which is the bright white on the inside, the media, which is the dark, and then the adventitia on the outside, bright white. So now we're looking at the digital artery, which you probably would not think that you'd be able to see as well. And again, you're seeing it just as well, if not better. Intima, bright white, dark media, adventitia, bright white on the outside.
And so along the right-hand side of the picture as well, as we know, there is a depth tool. And so this is only going in approximately 2 centimeters, 2 millimeters,
millimeters
depth, which is phenomenal.
Yes. Achilles tendon, again, conventional ultrasound, still awesome. Ultra high frequency.
Wow.
Picture says everything.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible.
I still don't get used to the wow factor from some of these images, even doing it 5 years later. Tarsal tunnel, so you're seeing the nerve bundles and the arteries and the nerves next to it. And then high frequency. So again, this is the whole bundle here of the nerves, individual fascicle. Individual fascicle. So here's a summary of what we've been looking at. The resolution will go down to 30 microns. Imaging depths is a maximum of 3.5 centimeters with the lowest frequency transducer, which is the 22 megahertz. Key applications include neonatology, vascular, small parts, dermatology, and MSK. So here is the visualization, anatomical, and the black and white image of the median nerve here compared to a grain of rice.
Wow. That's phenomenal. Can we go back a slide and just elaborate maybe on some of these applications that are being used with the high frequency ultrasound?
So for neonatology, some of the proponents they want to look at a little more closely is the gray matter. So for bleeds in babies, they're thinking of picking up PVLs much sooner than they have been. Vascular, they're looking at line placements without incidents. So breaking through the arterial wall, bruising, anything you can do to a small child and a infant that you would cause them more harm, whereas it wouldn't hurt us. It's could be catastrophic to them. Small parts, we're looking at dermatology, as well as some of the thyroids on small patients. Again, you have to look at the depth that it can go down to, which is 3.5 centimeters. So you're looking at small children and teenagers. Dermatology, definitely. You're looking at cancer, AVFs, a lot of different things, as well as hair follicles, and MSK is what we're doing here today.
Fabulous, thank you. Okay, so just based on this discussion today about this high frequency ultrasound, if you have any more information, you need more information or need contacts, here are the contact information. And we're going to switch now to our live scanning so you can visualize on your own. Meredith is going to demonstrate some of the visualizations of the high frequency in real-time ultrasound.
So I'm going to go over some of the things that we looked at previously, specifically the median nerve. And I'm going to use the 70 megahertz transducer. And I'm going to show you how well the 70 megahertz transducer works and show you. So now I'm putting not too much pressure on here. You can use the gel as a standoff pad to see the skin layers as well. So bright white again, epidermis, underneath that dermis, and then everything below that is subcutaneous. So I'm going to put a little more pressure, collapse the vein that you see in front of the median nerve, and show you the fascicles a wee bit better.
Now, how advantageous is this to be able to see all of the fascicles so well? Why is it so good?
Well, from what I've seen in some of the papers that they published, they're actually looking at the numbers and the differences between the fascicles and the sizes. So they're using it to grade things like carpal tunnel syndrome, from what I've seen.
And what about injection-wise? Are they able to, therefore, direct injections to certain areas?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. It would be more specific.
Thank you.
So here's a transverse image, and then I'll show you quickly just a longitudinal image. So each one of those channels is actually one nerve.
Wow.
And you can see the fibers within them.
That is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So I'll take you out to now the pulley. I think you can turn up. Yeah, maybe turn the lights out a little bit. And then maybe if you can just highlight that pulley for some people if they're not familiar with the high frequency. Yeah. Maybe we'll turn the gains up a little bit on the machine as well.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Can you turn the gains up just a smudge? Overall down the bottom here. Yeah. So that's the pulley. I'm going to show you the also, as well as the digital artery in my pinky, which when you're at work, you can take a look at with your conventional ultrasound. So here's transverse. And you can see as I've got it exactly perpendicular, you can see the intima, the median, the adventitia kind of jump out at you when I'm transversely. And perpendicular, and I'll go longitudinal.
Wow.
So again, that's the pinky digital artery.
Wow.
So is there anything you want to look at, Malka? What would you be looking at in your practice when you're showing people MSK? What would you want to look at?
Well, the carpal tunnel.
Okay. Which we've showed you, yep.
Yeah.
So we've got that.
The nerve, phenomenal.
And then, yeah, I can find fibers there of that tendon.
Yeah. Fibers of the tendon. It's phenomenal. Resolution.
So that's down at 3.5 millimeters at the bottom of that.
3.5 millimeters depth is what we're seeing here. Wow. Amazing.
So as far as arterial or any of the other indications or applications, we have radial artery here.
Wow.
So transversely, you can see it pulsating there. Again, this is all with the 70 megahertz transducer.
And so you can see how on a neonate, it would be a lot easier to be able to do IV insertions, ultrasound guided in this very small distance.
Yeah,
being
absolutely.
able to see directly where your you're guiding your lines.
And we've seen the shift just in traveling around to the hospitals and neonatal units. We've seen the shift now where the NNPs are actually going to be doing the line placements with ultrasound. They're doing, a lot of them they're doing blind right now. They want to start adding in the ultrasound factor just so that they can reduce their needle sticks. And it's a program called 1 Million Sticks, I think, that's out there that they're trying to make everyone aware of how many sticks less they want to involve those teeny tiny little babies in and with by using ultrasound.
Right. Wow. Unbelievable. Is there any, is there any anatomy that anybody else would like to see, or do you have any questions about what we are visualizing here with this high frequency ultrasound? Open it up to questions. Okay, one has just come in now. Are there any other transducers out there that have the same or equal resolution?
So no, the bottom line is no, there is not. 70 megahertz transducer is the highest frequency transducer you're going to find out there in the field.
Yeah, because typical imaging for a radiology department goes up maybe to 15 maximum.
Yeah, I think I've seen now probably 30 is the highest that's out there. A couple of the companies have come out with 30s, but so no, 70 is the highest.
Great. Okay, another question has come in. We've seen a lot of benefits of high frequency. Do you see any hurdles with users moving to high frequency?
So the answer is yes. There is a learning curve. The learning curve is a result of the field of view being so big. So it kind of looks zoomed in to a lot of people who start using it. But it's a very quick and high learning curve. It's a steep learning curve. So it's pretty easy to catch on. Again, it's just the field of view. People aren't used to looking at things so closely.
So it sounds to me that you would need a good understanding of ultrasound practice and be able to scan to begin with. And therefore, on top of that, now we're narrowing the field of view to millimeters.
Yes.
So to get that in our mind is just the biggest challenge of using high frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that that anyone just picking up ultrasound for the first time will be able to go straight to high frequency. So a good knowledge and background using ultrasound would be a benefit. And Malka, I've got a question for you. Do you see the Vevo MD improving the outcomes of your specialty?
Absolutely. Working with people who are practicing musculoskeletal ultrasound and in anesthesia, I see that as a huge market for high frequency ultrasound. If we're able to get very detailed imagery of the nerves, for example, that, as we're seeing here, to be able to see the nerve fibers and therefore to see where the needle is going directly, and you could do directed nerve blocks, directed uses for anesthesia. This would be phenomenal with regards to outcomes for those users. And then in MSK, I see this as obviously MSK is becoming a large market with ultrasound in general, but I see that there's going to be, as you had mentioned, a learning curve, because number one, people have to learn musculoskeletal ultrasound, and then now we're getting that detail a lot more. But outside of those two, as you mentioned, dermatology, in going into working with medical schools, for example, and teaching now students, all students going out into residencies and fellowships, and if they have an understanding of the fact that now they can take ultrasound into their practice, such as something like dermatology, which would never have probably been thought of
Yep.
In the use of ultrasound to be able to enhance patient care by visualizing the characteristics of these superficial tissues a lot better, I think is phenomenal and would have phenomenal outcomes.
Wonderful.
Anything else? So we're gonna just click back and finish off. Oh, there's a question. Other questions popped up. Can you really show us the pulley A1 in transverse of the finger?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll go back and share. I'm just going to flip back to the machine.
She said transfers, right? Transfers.
Yes. Yeah. You show the pulley A1 in transverse of the finger.
There you go.
Wow.
So I'll go back longitudinally to it, and then maybe Malka can take the arrow up to. So there it is longitudinally. And then I'm gonna slowly rock off of it and show you transversely.
That's phenomenal.
Does that answer your question?
Oh.
Yes, thanks. Perfect. Excellent.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anything anyone wants to see specifically? The other thing that I can show you, which is another application that is becoming popular, is actually looking at the nail bed.
Oh. Wow.
So, do you think you could change the depth for me, Malka? Sure. Maybe just, yeah, so go up the depth and then brighten it up just a smudge. Overall gain. Thank you.
Wow.
So there you are looking at the nail going into the bed. On the right side of the screen where it stops. Yep, thank you. And then where the gel is where my finger stops. And the nail continues.
So are you looking for like foreign bodies there?
No, they're looking actually for tumors, glomerulus tumors. Yeah.
Phenomenal. This is very exciting stuff. Like, this blows me away. Wow.
So if I pull up just a wee bit, you can actually see the nail bed with the vessels underneath it.
So here.
Underneath it. Yeah, underneath.
Oh, this is really fast.
Well, I'm going to see if I can do it without using my hands here, which is possible.
So does that make the vascular function more sensitive then as well? Like the Doppler and power, is it more sensitive?
It
or
can. The so there's some of the buffer there.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see it at the top of the screen there. So the thing with this, with ultrasound and high frequency is, and I'll see if I can show this to you here. If you can actually see the blood flow moving and the red blood cells, you don't need to put the color on.
Okay.
So, let's see if I have enough gel here to do this. So you see the white inside the vessel. When you see the actual red blood cells inside the vessel, there's no need to put the color on. You'll just cause yourself more artifact. And in fact, those are, it's not an artifact, it's not a plot, it's actually the red blood cells to the vessels. You actually see the flow.
Wow.
And the artery, I mean, you can see the laminar flow as well.
That is phenomenal.
So transverse vein, you can see, again, you can see the blood cells moving through there. Sorry, I'm trying not to compress it. These are the vessels on top of my hand. In case you're interested, ones you can visibly see on top of your hands. These are the ones that I'm looking at. So we're going 2 millimeters, 1.5 millimeters deep into the skin. Just gonna grab some more gel and I'll show you I'll give you I'll float the transducer in the gel so that you can see the layers there again. So the top, the black is all gel. Bright white there is the epidermis. And then below dermis. And then below that, pressure a little bit more, that's all sub-Q. Yeah.
Wow. So the question came in.
Utilized, absolutely. My point being is that if you can physically see the blood flowing in it, you don't need to. But yes, there is color Doppler. We actually now have color power Doppler and we have pulse wave Doppler as well. Those have just come through with FDA, so they'll be coming out of the machine now. So there you can actually see the flow going fast.
Wow. Yeah. Phenomenal.
So below that, you can see the tendon there. You can see the bone. Oh, the other thing that I will show you as well that is quite nice. So what I'm going to do is just make a fist with my hand. I'm going to go to the knuckle and I'm going to show you the cartilage. So right above the bone, you'll see the black area there, and that's the cartilage. So I've made a fist with my hand to make the cartilage come out just a little bit more.
Wow.
So with a straight hand, you don't really see it so much. So when rheumatologists look at their patient's hands on ultrasound, they'll get them to make a fist.
This is phenomenal. Wow. So the detail from rheumatology, musculoskeletal, anesthesia, and all the other applications, dermatology, is just, in my opinion, beats anything else that you can be doing with conventional ultrasound.
Now the other application that they're using it for under IRB, of course, is for surgical use. So at Sunnybrook Hospital, they're actually using it for spine and brain under IRB, and the images are awesome. They're using it to look at the margins of the tumors that they're trying to either eradicate or take a closer look at.
Any more questions? Before we say our goodbyes, Doppler utilized. So we answered that question. So we're just going to finish off here. There we go. So again, if you have any questions or have somebody you want to contact with regards to this VisualSonics, here are your contact information here. Okay, so please feel free to reach out. If you have any questions with regards to how we can provide solutions to all your ultrasound needs, you can reach us at info@soundsportsimaging.com and check out our website at www.soundsportsimaging.com.
So Malka, sorry, can you just give us a rundown of what SoundSport Imaging does for its clients?
SoundSports Imaging, our motto is to provide solutions to all your ultrasound needs. And so we're focused on educating health practitioners on the use of ultrasound. And so we're working with many different healthcare providers to get them up to speed on proper ultrasound use.
So will you go into their community to teach them, or do they come to you?
Absolutely. We can go directly to your clinic or educational institution. We also provide live seminars that you can come to and join. We have weekly webinars, and anything that you need, we're here to help.
Excellent.
Thank you. And again, here with regards to VisualSonics, all the information with regards to your website and their resources, you can find them on all social media and YouTube. And if you want them at a conference, please go ahead and book a booth at a conference. And again, if you have any questions about them, I'm sure they can contact you, Meredith,
Yep,
and contact VisualSonics as well. So I thank you all for joining us today for our webinar, and hope to join us in a couple of weeks where we're going to be doing a webinar with the Point of Care Ultrasound Certification Academy.
Thank you for everyone who joined us. That was awesome. Thanks.
Thank you so much.